in SigmaNest, I have the ability to do a SolidWorks import, which will be SolidWorks parts or assembly files. You could do step files as well, DXF, DWG, those are kind of some of the common ones, but we'll do the assembly here, and we'll start off with this 251, and let me see, I think this is the main one. Yeah, okay. So we'll grab that one. And there isn't too much setup that I had to do here. Just kind of using our default options. So this assembly, we might not see it, but I know we'll see it on the others. Here's some bend line detection, and it'll add those for marking. So again, we'll come back to that for your actual bend parts. And then I was not using these for any of your models, but generally speaking, you can use the custom property fields and the SolidWorks parts to do part filtering. So if you need to get, your plate parts and you want to make sure it's only the plate parts coming in, you could set up a custom property field, just labeled plate, and then that's how we can make sure, without question that it's coming in appropriately. There's other things in here. You could do material filtering, thickness filtering, that kind of stuff. And then I
So,
think, go ahead.
yep. Sorry, I'll if you don't mind, I
Yeah,
sometimes
no,
just
you're fine.
interject when I have questions because this is interesting, right? This is not something that I saw from the Amada where it basically imported it like it was from SolidWorks. It basically imported like it was coming straight in from like a step file. So just
Hmm.
saw the geometry, and it had smart features where it could recognize certain things and features and whatnot, but it wasn't actually reading a lot of data from the SolidWorks parts themselves. And
Got it.
we do use PDM in conjunction with our SolidWorks, so we have our own custom made data cards, and in those data cards we have fields for designating, hey, this is something that will be made out of essentially a sheet steel, right?
Got it.
And thus would likely need to be sent over or imported for nesting. Would we be able to incorporate that data field in the data card that we write using SolidWorks and PDM to do that, or does it need to be a specific field in order to be able to read that information?
So I'm not as familiar with the SolidWorks PDM side of things, but as long as it's a field that shows up in those custom properties on the part, then we can
Mhm.
read it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does show up. I mean, yeah, okay, as long as you can read that, I suppose. So is it
Yeah.
getting that list from the SolidWorks part then, and then you can
Yes. Yeah. So
add
we
or
have,
customize those
yep.
within SolidWorks? Okay.
Yep. So we have access to that list. And then this window, it's just showing part filtering, but we can actually read from it and map data from those fields as well, which that's the next tab right here. So
There
then
you
the
go.
SolidWorks specific tab down here at the bottom.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
Yeah,
That's
and
exactly
yeah,
what we're
so there,
looking
I think I
at. Mhm.
looked at like one of y'all's parts just to kind of see what was there. I saw
Yeah,
some revision information and stuff like that. But yeah, any of those fields, if you have anything you want to keep track of, we can carry it along into the SigmaNest environment and make sure that that stuff's not getting lost.
okay, yeah. Yeah, it'd be like it's something called process, I think is what it would be. It would come out
Got
as, we'd look for anything that's under process and then labeled as torch. And that
it.
would be what it
Okay.
is.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would just be the explicit filter there to make sure, because we do have some auto filtering, but so every now and then something will get through the auto filter. So this will just
Yeah.
make sure that doesn't happen. And
Yeah.
then the other thing in here, which I don't think this model had it set up, but there was a mention of um,
Hmm.
automatically assigning like an etch layer. So if you have sketches drawn on your part, generally has to be just on the surface of the part, then in here, all you do is you just label whatever the sketch is. So I don't know exactly what the labels y'all used were, but you just name it the exact same as what it was named in SolidWorks, and then you can assign the process here, whether it's a cutting process or in this case a marking or etching process, that kind of thing. So then that,
Like a layer in SolidWorks you're talking about?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
the sketch layer, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. I'm following.
Yeah. So then you can do it this way to bring those in for automatically assigning it to be etched or marked at the machine and not having to do that setup after you get the part imported.
Very good.
And then back to that SolidWorks tab. So I already mentioned the property fields, but you have your configurations at the top if there's a specific configuration we have to pull from, and then the auto filtering that I've mentioned. So in this case, I turned it on, and it should run the parts through our feature recognition from, because we also have some tube software, so it'll try to recognize if there's two parts in there and pull those out, and then also toolbox components. And like I said, it's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. So we'll go ahead and hit OK on this, and we'll kind of take a look at our results and see what we get here.
Yeah.
And we'll give that just a moment there.
So this is, which one are we working on? This looks like 25169. Okay, that's the
Yep.
clean one. Yep. That's the collar assembly. So this is you opening that file from how I sent it to you right now,
Yep,
correct?
exactly. Yeah, I didn't modify the part or anything like that from SolidWorks. I opened it up just to kind of look and see what it looked like, but that was it.
Yeah. So it's looking at all of the individual parts in there and parsing through and trying to sort out what we're interested in actually
Yes.
nesting. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. With that auto filtering in this case. The best scenario would be use explicit filter. Just for this example, I had
Yeah.
and left it on the auto filter just to see what that result would give us.
Understood. Yep. Yep. So, and what computer hardware are you currently running? Because I'm kind of paying attention to how long it takes to load and do some of these operations a little bit.
So I'm running on I would say entry level CAD engineering laptop
Okay.
from a couple years ago. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
All right. And then there we go. So I have my parts. Again, I am not familiar with all of the parts that are in the model themselves there, but I have
Mm-hmm.
what look like plate parts here. And then these, I don't know if these are washers or not, but
Those
um
are those nope. Those, not those ones are not. There were a
oh,
couple
okay.
of washers that I saw there that you browsed by. They were
Oh,
just
these.
like those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
And I can just delete them here pretty quick.
Sure.
Yeah, and
Okay.
there's
So
other ways to filter those out, based on whether it be size or different material or whatever it might be. We
right.
can filter those out as well.
Yeah, that would be, and that would be if it can read the data card and those in that information, it will be listed as a hardware or a torch file. So if it can
Oh,
sort
got
by
it.
that, those wouldn't be imported as
Right.
the torch files. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now
And
that's an
then
interesting one there. This is one
mhm.
of the reasons that I wanted to get your input because that one is a torch file, but then it has post machining done to it.
Sure. Let me hit OK on this real quick just so we can get a bigger picture of that, and we'll look at that part there.
Perfect.
This one right here. All right,
Hmm.
so what was going on here? I have what looks like some bend lines came in maybe. I'm not entirely sure.
Shouldn't be any
These are
bend lines,
sketches.
but
Okay.
it's there is a milled edge on there, so it's cut out
Okay,
of
so
yep
then
cut
that's
out.
probably what this milled edge is then. Okay.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah, so it comes in with the geometry there, and then in SigmaNest, the way it's reading it's gonna try to etch or mark these, but I can delete them or let's
Mm.
see.
Yeah. So Duncan, is this a part that you wouldn't want to come in, or you would want it to come in?
I do want it to come in, but
Okay.
I wanted to know how well the software would be able to recognize the geometry that wouldn't because this part and there's another part too. I think that paddle face has
Hmm.
chamfered holes. So I was curious. It's cut out of sheet steel, like that one on the left there. That one there. That one has some those holes there on there should
Yeah,
be chamfered.
yeah. So
So
so it
how,
handled the chamfers. It should handle those pretty well. But generally, milled or those kinds of features, uh,
mm-hmm.
we read them based on like the top or the bottom view of the part. So I don't know what orientation this came in as. This one looks like it's fine, and then I could just come in and delete these two lines that it added. This one, it looks like it might have read it upside down or something. I'm not
Yeah, I'm
entirely
not
sure.
entirely sure. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure on that one.
Yeah,
And I think I know what it is, but I'm not sure why it's like that.
right. Yeah, and like I said, for this one, my cleanup would be fairly easy. I can
Yeah.
come into our geometry edit, and I I could do this a couple of different ways. I could either just delete the lines completely, or
Mhm.
maybe you still want them there for reference. I can just set them to no cut.
Yep.
And we'll just do no cut there.
Okay.
And then now it's good to go. I still have it up for my drawing or any reports, but we're not going to do any kind of laser or etching or cutting on that now. So
Mhm.
they'll be ignored for that process.
Sure.
The other thing to mention here, Duncan, if you knew that this model had no parts with bend lines, uh, if you just do not turn on the auto detect bend lines, it would just bring it in kind of how Nelson has edited it to this point.
Yeah. And I mean, you probably saw there's another demo in there where I am very interested in bend lines. This one,
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about bend lines. It's pretty cut and dry in that
Yeah.
sense. But yeah, I'm just curious. Like, I think that middle part is actually a nylon brush with a stainless steel backer. So that
Oh,
one in the
yep.
middle there.
It's nylon. Yep.
I
That's what it
remember seeing
is.
that. Yeah, and Nelson, correct me if I'm wrong, but there is a filter on there that you can filter by material so that it wouldn't bring in anything that's not,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, metal or whatever.
Yeah, and again, if it can read that same processing category that we can do, it would read it as a purchased part because we won't
Right.
be making the brushes, right? So that'd be listed as a purchased part.
Yep.
Yeah. And it would have just skipped it in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.